What's up, everyone? It is David Mailer coming to you for the first time ever live from Lake Junaluska in North Carolina. Yes, we are down south and we are about to have a Man on Fire Rising 4-day immersion where 33 men, yes, you heard that correct, 33 men's lives will change forever. They're coming in, and most men have a tendency to share very similar problems, ranging from I'm stuck in my head, I'm stuck in the analysis paralysis. How do I drop into my body? How do I drop into my heart? How do I show up as a masculine leader of my household? How do I navigate and manage balancing having a kid, working my job, making money, providing for my wife, providing for my family? How do I handle all of it? So we all share very similar problems as men. And Man on Fire as a company is committed to supporting men in up-leveling their masculine leadership in these different domains, from their health to their wealth to their career to their mission and purpose and to their relationship with their wife or their ex or their fiance or their girlfriend and with their children. And part of our mission, for those of you that might be new to Man on Fire, part of our mission is to be the provider, to be the protector for the feminine heart. Meaning, as we rise in consciousness, as we elevate as men, as we become more awake, more aware, we will feel more inspired. We will feel more of a calling to guard and protect this delicate flower that we call the feminine heart. And I'm talking about the feminine heart as in the females that are in our life, whether it's children or whether it's our significant other. It is our responsibility as men to guard, to be the gatekeeper to the harshness, to the cruelty, especially that comes from a man when he's in his wound, when he's in his masculine, coming from a place where he's been hurt. We call it the immature masculine, or we call it the wounded masculine. There's many different names that you can give it. At the end of the day, you as a man know that as you're growing and as you're evolving, you will want to take on a greater level of leadership to help others and to be of greater service to humanity. Now, part of our specialty, for those of you that have tuned into any of our lives, for any of our videos, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook, whatever social platform it is, one of our specialties is that we support men in getting out of their head and getting into their body. We support men in getting out of the analysis paralysis. We support men in stopping the incessant mind chatter, the 50,000 plus thoughts per day that a man is constantly bombarded by. And how do you get out of your mind? And rather than living there, how do you get into your body? How do you get into your heart? And then how do you use your heart to command your mind? So rather than tracing or chasing these thoughts that keep coming to you, how do you actually take back control of your ship? You're the commander. You are the captain. And so many of us, and this was me into my early 40s, we are being run by our mind, meaning your mind is constantly talking to you and it's producing thoughts, and those thoughts are making you do actions or not take actions that are literally destroying your life. I'll give you an example of one of the guys that we have in our community where he had something happen where he lost a lot of money because it was taken from him. Okay, it was, let's just say it was stolen from him. And where the pirates, where the mind will take him is it's going to be impossible to rebuild. It's going to be impossible to start over. I can't believe this happened to me. I can't believe I allowed this to happen to me. And the mind will want to take you to a dark place where it will tell you, why don't you swallow some pills? Why don't you jump off of a bridge? Why don't you put a noose around your neck and consider hanging yourself? This is what the mind tells you, just like when you're up high on top of a mountain, you're like, yeah, why don't you jump off? Or you go to the observatory deck on the Empire State Building, why don't you jump off? This is what the mind does. This is what the mind does. It tells you to have the affair. It tells you to lie to people. It has you go in the strip clubs. It has you watching pornography. It has you zoning out, smoking weed, drinking alcohol, and playing video games and being disconnected from your true mission and your true purpose. Are you guys tracking what I'm saying here? That you will never be able to fully stop the incessant chatter, but you can come to a place where you can recognize that these thoughts that are coming to me or towards me, they're not my thoughts. In fact, my wife and I, and at the time we were just dating, this was about 13 years ago, we flew to India. And, one of the things that we learned when we were in India, and this is, this will sound so simple, but yet it's not. So I want to invite you to just be open and receptive to what I'm about to share, which is we learned that your thoughts are not really your thoughts. Now, what does that mean in simple English? Is that while you might be thinking that you're the creator of your thoughts, I want to invite you to the possibility that you're just a receiver of thoughts. And just like many of you recognize that if you want to listen to different music on a radio, you simply change the megahertz frequency, you tune into a different station, and all of a sudden you hear different music. Well, you understand that, but what you might not have been taught is that depending upon the frequency that you're currently residing at, depending upon your current wavelength, your vibration, where you're at, as a man, that is what's determining the different thoughts that you keep receiving. No different than a radio, if tuned into a certain frequency, will pick up on the exact music that radio station plays. I'd like to invite you to the same awareness, the same understanding that the thoughts that I keep receiving are in relationship to where I'm at in my own personal growth, in my own journey, my own level of evolution, my own consciousness that I'm currently residing at. So what does that mean? Well, that means that if you choose to grow yourself as a man, if you choose to raise your vibration, if you choose and you have a hunger for and a desire for and you're willing to do the work, what will end up happening is that you can raise your tone, you can raise your frequency, you can raise your vibration. Therefore, the thoughts that you receive start to change. So instead of receiving a thought of why don't I harm myself, or why don't I go to a strip club tonight, or why don't I watch porn and masturbate while my wife is crying in the bedroom because we don't have intimacy, instead of having those thoughts, what if your thoughts were, how could I be of greater service? How could I be of greater contribution today? How could I be more present for my kids? How could I be more present for my wife? How could I show up more powerfully? How could I stand more powerfully in the leader that God made me to be? How could I more powerfully align with my true soul? What if those were your thoughts? That's a lot different than the thoughts that most of you listening right now are actually following on a day-to-day basis. So when I say that you're not really the thinker of your thoughts, you're a receiver of thoughts, well, if that's true, if you could imagine this with me, then you have to also realize that if I'm not the one that's actually thinking these thoughts, then why am I following the thoughts? Why am I actually following these thoughts if I'm not even the creator of the thought? Now, you can get to a place where you command your thoughts. You can get to a place where you regain the helm of your own ship. You take over the steering wheel. You take over the rudder, and you take your ship to the island called Paradise Island, or called Dream Island, or called this is my life, this is my destiny, and I will take this ship where I need to take this ship. But most of you unknowingly have let the pirates take over. They've taken over your mind, they've taken over your ship, and they're producing all of these thoughts, and you're actually believing these thoughts. I mean, how else can you explain why somebody would want to harm themselves or do things that are detrimental to their growth and are harmful to other people? How else can you explain having an affair? How else can you explain constantly watching pornography when your wife is crying because she wants more intimacy in the marriage? And the simple answer is because you've disconnected from your heart. The simple answer is that you've let the pirates take over your head. The simple answer is that you've allowed your thoughts to prevail, and you've allowed the thoughts that keep coming to you where you believe that those are actually your thoughts, and then you're actually taking action on those thoughts, or you're not acting on thoughts at all, which is another problem that a man has, because when we say analysis paralysis, usually what that means is you're not going to do anything. Oh, I know I got to go have that conversation with my wife. I know I got to go clean stuff up. Analysis paralysis, you're stuck in your head. Some of you have heard the expression, get in your head, you're dead. I've gone to so many Tony Robbins seminars, and it's such a beautiful sentence that he says, get in your head, you're dead. What does he really mean by that? Well, what he means is that in your head is a sea of thoughts. And in a sea of thoughts, you're not going to take action. You're just going to stay in the analysis of things, and you're going to think about it until the feeling goes away, and now you haven't taken action. Just like if you wanted to go to the gym. Well, let me think about it. Let me think about it. Let me analyze it. Is this the best time to go? Should I go later? Should I go now? Should I go tomorrow morning? You keep thinking, 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 and next thing you know, you haven't done anything. I have a friend who shared with me intimately that he was in the analysis paralysis of what should he do within his marriage. Should I stay with my wife? Should I leave her? Should I stay with my wife? Should I leave her? Well, 5 years of being in analysis paralysis and taking no action, because, as a side note, guys, something I learned from one of my teachers, Donnie, and two great teachers in my life, Donnie and Tony, something that he taught is that as long as you're stuck in thought energy, then the whole idea of thoughts is to actually prevent you from making progress, to prevent you from growing, to prevent you from moving forward, to prevent you from taking action, to prevent you from connecting with emotion, because your emotions are your very leverage to make change in your life. So when Tony talks about analysis paralysis, and then you look at it through the lens of, wow, if I'm stuck in my head, of course, I'm not going to take any action. So come back to this example of this man that shared with me that for 5 years he battled with analysis paralysis. What should I do within my marriage? And by doing nothing, what ended up happening was he got a stroke. Now, is it my opinion that his stroke was in relationship to his inability to make a decision? Yeah, it's a perspective that I have. However, more importantly, he shared with me, David, I believe that the paralysis that I've experienced through my stroke was in direct relationship to the paralysis that I had in being unable to make a decision. So when we speak of analysis paralysis, I want you guys to understand that when you have allowed the pirates to take over your head, which generally means you're not going to take action. It generally means you're disconnected from your emotions. It generally means you're disconnected from your heart. You're disconnected from your soul. You're disconnected from a higher source of wisdom, a higher source of intelligence that's constantly informing you and helping you understand right from wrong, helping you make decisions from a place fueled by your soul, fueled from God, fueled from your heart. And then what's the purpose of your mind is simply to carry out the actions that were informed by your soul, which is a different currency of energy, right? The thought energy is so much different than soul energy. Usually a man doesn't find his way to his soul. He doesn't find his way to a higher source of wisdom until he's had great tragedy, great trauma in his life, where he's brought to his knees and finally he's like, please God, help me understand, why is this happening? Because the mind can no longer answer the question, because the mind is where you're trapped in the analysis paralysis. The mind is where you won't take any action. You have no leverage, no emotions to make change. The mind is where there's incessant chatter feeding you poison. So the idea is to be able to make that sacred journey, the 12 inches that every woman wants from you, is the journey from your head to your heart. Because then she could feel you. And when she can feel you, she can trust you, because she knows that you trust yourself. She knows that you trust your internal guidance. She knows that you won't violate yourself. She knows that you're operating from a higher frequency. But not every man makes this journey. And this is why I'm so passionate about helping men, right? Man on Fire was founded roughly 9 years ago. It's my greatest purpose on earth, is to support men in growing into their masculine leadership. Why? Humanity needs men to come back into a place of leadership. I don't mean dominance, where you're trying to control other people. I mean an awakened masculine leader. Not just the energy coming from your balls where you have courage, but I mean the energy that's fueled from your heart. Because without the heart, the actions that you're taking are most likely detrimental to yourself and harmful to other people. This is all about coming back into your body, coming back into your heart, coming back into the awareness of who you truly are, when you still had that innocence, that purity, that playful spirit as a little boy, and then the world beat you down with different hurts and wounds and traumas. Maybe for some of you it was your parents getting divorced, maybe it was a parent dying, maybe it was a parent leaving and running off with somebody else, maybe it was some form of physical or sexual or emotional abuse. We've all been hurt to some degree, and we got away from being who we truly are. And I truly feel that each and every one of you that is listening right now, on some level, deep down, you know that you were born for more than how you're likely showing up in your life right now. Now, for those of you listening right now and you're like, I'm crushing it, I'm on fire, I have passion, I have power, and I'm on purpose, good for you. Because we need more men that have the courage to live into the integrity and the congruence and the authenticity and the alignment of who God created you to be. That's what we're after here at Man on Fire. And what we have found is that the easiest path to achieve this is to have support, to have challenge, and to have accountability. To have support, to have challenge, and to have accountability. I'm looking around the room because I know that one of our banners says that. Right now, I don't see that banner up, so we'll talk to the team. Where's that banner? Because men, if left to themselves, like if you're being the lone wolf, oh, I'll do it, I'll fix it, I'll get there eventually. Yeah, but by what age? 70, 75, 60s, right? You guys know this. Your most treasured and precious commodity is called time. Time, right? Ben Franklin, quote, lost time is never found. So with Man on Fire as a community, as a personal development company, we take a fierce stand for men to stop wasting time, to stop the cycle where your last breath that you take one day may be a breath of regret. I'm not saying that to scare you guys. I'm not saying that to put any individual down. I'm saying that because I held my father's hand for his last breath. I know that it wasn't a breath that he wanted. I know that there was more in life that he wanted to accomplish and achieve. I know that he didn't want to spend his last years in a nursing home not knowing that he's in a nursing home with dementia. And I know that I've learned from those lessons. And I have so much gratitude for my father to deliver this last lesson in life, which is don't waste time anymore. Don't hide. Have the courage to live fully. Have the courage to live into your true potential. And what we've discovered, and this, you're talking to a guy, I'm 55 now, where I've gone to hundreds, literally hundreds of seminars. Popular ones out there. They were all amazing. However, collecting and gathering information doesn't mean you're going to do anything with that information. And what I have discovered personally is that without support beyond a program, most likely, gravitationally, you'll be pulled back into your old habits. So many of you listening could relate to what I'm saying. You've gone to seminars, and within 2 weeks, the majority of you most likely went back to your old ways and your old patterns. So what we've put together with Man on Fire is understanding this concept. I had to design our program 9 years in the making of how do we make it where a guy can't hide, he can't shrink, he can't contract, he can't go back to his old ways, and even if he does momentarily, how do we pull him out of it? How do we quickly get him back on the path to living into his passion, his power, and his purpose? And that's what Man on Fire, the company, is all about, where through immense amount of empathy and compassion, right? Because we've heard the expression that no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. I am beyond proud of the team that I have attracted and then the members that have found their way to the Man on Fire Brotherhood, because it's a heart-centered, heartfelt group of men that truly care about each other and want the best, knowing that if I support another man in rising into the congruence and the alignment of who he was born to be, I know there's going to be a ripple effect. It's going to impact his family, and it's going to impact his community. And how far that reach goes is in relationship to what that man's true mission and purpose is in life. We have men that are in our community that are mechanics. We have lawyers. We have neurosurgeons. We have blue-collar workers. We have business owners. We have such a wide variety. We have men that, are multimillionaires that own their own planes. It's a diversified community. The one thread that we all have in common is our humanness. And we're all here to support each other in moving out of this thing called the head, where you know that your life is taken over by the pirates, and really dropping back down into this sacred vessel that we call the heart, which will put us in more direct communication with God, right? We get a lot of messages, if it's not coming from God, I'm not interested. Well, part of our mission is to help align your frequency where you can have a more direct relationship with whoever God is for you, right? We welcome all different faiths and different religions. It's not about singling one of them out and making it right and making others wrong. It's all inclusive with Man on Fire, and this is all about your personal journey and your relationship to having your relationship with God. But many of you, because you're so stuck in your head, you've blocked that relationship. So it's like you're trying to live life by force rather than through power. And there is nothing that compares to the power of your heart. There's nothing that compares to the power of your Creator. But if you're not tuned into the right frequency, if you're not tuned into the right radio station, how is God supposed to work with you or through you? So for those of you that have listened to me in the past and you're wondering, well, what religion is it that is behind the work that we do? It's not about a particular religion. It's about the humanness. It's about you allowing God to be lived through you. It's not about quoting a Bible. I don't want mental chatter from guys out there that want to keep talking about stuff like that. I want to know, is that showing up in your life? Are you growing your empathy? Are you growing your compassion? Are you growing your gratitude? Do you have more grace? Do you have more love? Can people feel you more? Are you being of greater service to humanity? That's the man that we're after, the man that wants that in his life. And of course, that man will have a beautiful relationship with his Creator. So today's topic was all about how do you get out of analysis paralysis. So let me at least give you guys one little simple tip of how the hell do you get out of analysis paralysis. Well, here's how you do it. Let's say that you promised yourself in the morning, I'm going to the gym. Sorry, let's say that it's 8 o'clock at night, and you told yourself, starting tomorrow morning at 5 a.m., I'm going to the gym. And you made a commitment to yourself. And when you said it, you meant it. You really meant it. And now it's the next morning and the alarm clock goes off. And the first thoughts that come into your head most likely aren't, cool, it's 5 o'clock. I'm excited to get up and get my ass to the gym. I'm going to honor my integrity. I'm going to honor my word. I'm going to honor my commitment. I'm going to go to the gym because I promised myself I'm going to do it. No, you wake up with no energy, and you wake up and the first people that are awake before you is the mind, the chatter of the mind, the radio station called, let me show you how to screw up your life. So what does your mind tell you? What does your mind tell you in that moment? It says, hey, big guy, you had a tough night. You tossed and turned. You didn't know that the kids were going to be crying and you would have to, go take care of them. Or you didn't know you'd have to get up 3 times because you had to go to the bathroom. You know what? Just go after work. Or, you know what? Hit snooze. Snooze, sleep for 10 more minutes. That's what the mind will tell you. So you hit snooze, convincing yourself that in 10 minutes, then I'll be ready to get up. And sure enough, the alarm clock goes off. And do you get up? No, you don't get up. No, the pirates are back and they've taken over your ship again. And they say, hey, guess what, big guy? Hit snooze again. You'll still be able to make it to the gym and make it to work on time. And you know how the story goes, guys. The next thing you know, 3, 4, 5 snoozes later, the pirates tell you, just go today after work. At least you'll still keep your word. Maybe you didn't honor your word going to the gym when you said you would, but at least you'll go. So make sure you go after work. But no, you have to put out all these fires at work, and then your wife needs you home, and the kids are crying, and the dog pooped all over the carpet, and now the pirates are telling you, just go tomorrow. So what do? How do you get out of this mind chatter that's destroying you, that's lying to you, that's making you be out of integrity with who you are at a deeper level of congruence? What do? Here's one thing you can do. In that moment where you see that a negotiation is happening within your mind, right? One of my favorite sayings that I learned from one of my teachers, Donnie, is that your soul doesn't negotiate. Right? If you made a decision from your soul, meaning soul informed you of here's what needs to happen, then any time a negotiation is happening, it's no longer coming from soul. It's now coming from your mind, which means it's not you. It's just you have entered into a negotiation with your mind and you will lose. So what do? Well, here's what I do. I know that my energetic level in that moment, I have no energy available in my mind. And if I'm not able to, in that moment, take back control from my ship by commanding my mind, saying, no, like, literally, like, no, pirates, you're not winning today. I'm in charge. I'm the boss. I'm the commander of this ship. I'm the captain. Sorry, not today. You don't win. Like, if you haven't gotten to that place of evolution for yourself as a man, then what's something you can do that can instantly shift your state, get you out of the negotiation, and get you taking an action that you were prolonging because you were in the negotiation analysis paralysis of the mind? Simple. Get your body moving. What do you mean? Move your body. Because anytime you're negotiating in your head, analysis paralysis, you're not moving. You're still. You're most likely in a contracted posture like this. Your chin is probably down. The pirates have taken over, and you're not doing it in that posture. So what do? You do 20 jumping jacks in that moment, or you drop to the floor and you do 20, 25 push-ups, or you do some squats. And all of a sudden, you'll have life moving through you. You'll have breath moving through you. You'll have emotional energy available to you. And now, all of a sudden, the mind gets fed all of this emotional energy, and boom, you're like, I'm going to the gym. I'm getting my ass to the gym right now. I'm calling my wife, babe, I'll be home in 45 minutes. I committed to myself that I'm going to the gym. I don't want to break my word, because if I break my word with myself, I'm going to break my word with you, and I'm done doing that. I'm on my way to the gym. That's it. Get your body moving. That is one simple way. Now, eventually, in your own growth as a man, you will learn how to command your mind. So, for example, with me, I have a commitment that every day, not some days, every day, when I wake up, after I go to the bathroom, the first thing that I do, aside from using a tongue scraper and brushing my teeth and mouthwash and all that stuff, the first thing that I do is I walk to the kitchen and I cut open a lemon. I squeeze the lemon into a glass. I pour the high octane spring water. I take out 2 of my probiotic pills and I guzzle the glass of lemon water. It's the first thing that I do after my basics are met. Basic essentials of going to the bathroom. Now, every single day when I'm doing that, the pirates, who are always up before you, will say, don't worry about doing the lemon water today, or just do it later, or it's not a big deal if you skip today. Don't be so hard on yourself. What's the big deal if you don't have the lemon water today? That's what the pirates will constantly tell me. Now, what's invisible to me is I'm feeling so drained that there's a belief system in that moment that if I were to make the effort of getting the probiotics out of the closet, taking out the plate where I cut the lemon on, squeezing, like, I don't have enough energy for this and maybe it could kill me, right? That's invisible to you. You don't see that because you're so drained in your energy and your mind is running the ship that you can't see that, okay, yeah, maybe that's a good idea what my mind is feeding me. No. So what do? Instead of having to do the jumping jacks, which is absolutely an option, I remove myself from the thought that I'm hearing. So I take the thought whoosh, and I put it right here. And now I'm over here and here's the thought. And I look at the thought and I realize I'm not the thought. I only received that thought. So I say to the thought, sorry thought, not today. You don't get to man this ship. You're not at the helm. You're not the captain. I'm the captain. And out comes the plate. Out comes the probiotics. Cutting a lemon. Water. Swallow. Boom. Pirates, you don't win today. You work for me. 2 choices with the pirates. Walk the plank or swab the deck. You either get to work because you work for me or you walk the plank. That's how it works. So guys, put into your chat whichever social platform you end up seeing this on, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's in one of my groups, whether it's on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn. What are you hearing in what I'm sharing? What has truly landed for you? What's the gift that you've received from today's live or today's podcast? Help me understand what you really heard and if you find this beneficial. And for future topics that you'd like me to cover, please put that in the comments as well. Also, one way that you can deeply honor myself and my mission is to always smash up that like key. If you really enjoyed what you received today, I'd be honored if you could hit the like key and help us with our algorithms so we can have a greater outreach to other men. Maybe you can share this link in your own Facebook posts or through your other social platforms and turn other people onto it that you feel could benefit from this. And of course, throw us some fire signs. All right, guys, put in those final comments, and it is with deep gratitude. It is always such an honor and such a privilege to be able to share my trials and my tribulations and my gifts with you as my fellow brother that are beside me. All right, guys, so much love, and I'll see you next week. Like I said, tomorrow we start our Man on Fire Rising 4-day immersion. And, for those of you that want to learn more about our coaching programs and you're in a place of your life where you are ready to make an energetic investment in yourself, you're ready to invest your finances, your time, and your energy in growing yourself. Of course, you can continue to tune into lots of my live stuff, like if you're in a place financially where you just simply don't have the means. But for those of you that want to explore a deeper level of support, challenge, and accountability, where you get to meet me, you get to work with my coaches, you get to hang out and be with the other men in this community, you're ready for that level of challenge, then go to our website, manonfirerising.com, and click on apply for a free discovery call. And please understand, the discovery call is not like a free coaching session where we're going to magically solve all your problems. It's specifically for men who want to learn more about our coaching programs. And if you know that you're not ready to make that type of an investment in yourself, then I kindly ask that you respectfully don't fill out an application and book an appointment and take up a time slot that could be used for somebody else. Just follow me on the different social platforms where I come on once a week, always for free, to serve my fellow brothers. Additionally, stay tuned, because we're also going to be having a huge event in July called Man on Fire Live. Seize your destiny. So stay tuned for more details on that. And if you don't want to wait and you want to apply for a discovery call to find out about our different coaching programs, great. Go to manonfirerising.com. All right, guys, so much love. It's David Mailer, your Man on Fire mentor. See you next time. So much love, guys. Bye for now.